and targeted her because her deceased husband was a jeweler. Postmen discovered her body last Friday at her town of Dunn home.
Authorities are looking for a white male, 6 foot to 6'2", 200 to 220 pounds, with a beard and a plaid shirt. They're also looking for a woman who they believe drove the getaway car. The two vehicles possibly involved are a maroon van with primer on one side and another maroon car. While this murder is another tragedy in our area, authorities say it is a rare occurrence in rural Dane County.
Unfortunately, that fact doesn't help neighbors in the area feel any safer. Susan Jones has more on how life has changed there and what precautions people should take to protect themselves.
A deadly intruder has destroyed the peace and tranquility of life in this rural Dane County community. Lois and Bill Stiles are a lot more careful now because of him.
We can sit in here at night and we watch him, and he'll jump up and check because the car's going too slow. Why are they going so slow?
Suspicious of all that is unfamiliar, locking doors and windows, neighbors say it is hard to feel comfortable.
Why do we have to be afraid for our lives in our own homes? Yeah.
The Stiles have an alarm system that they use all the time now.
Whereas we didn't do that. We didn't feel it was necessary to do that before because we didn't feel that there were intruders about, and we felt safe.
There are some things you can do to feel safe. Sheriff Rick Ramish says keeping your home looking lived in is a start. Also, many people hire out for services like lawn care and house cleaning. Those people should always be checked out thoroughly.
Ask for references, see if they're in the phone book, see if you can talk to other people that have hired their services and see what they think.
And by all means, Ramish says, if you do find something in your home out of place, do not go inside.
And we're more than happy to come and check it out. Go straight to a phone and dial 911.
People should not have to live in fear, and Ramish hopes these tips can help make them feel a little safer. Susan Jones, 15 News at 6.
Neighbors say they plan to organize a neighborhood watch program.
A Dane County judge today ruled the town of Madison hearings involving the alleged misconduct of two officers must be open to the public. The attorney for Detective Jim McCarthy says he will not appeal the ruling because it would only delay the proceedings. That hearing is slated for Monday. The hearing involving Officer Dennis Stapleton is scheduled for October.
If the city had more time, a compromise could be worked out on a building of Famous Footwear's headquarters along Lake Mendota. That from the mayor today in reaction to the company's decision to locate elsewhere. Famous Footwear had planned to build 2 6-story towers along Lake Mendota near Olin Park, but now the national shoe retailer says it's moving into the old rural insurance building on the west side. The mayor says he's pleased that the site will remain in Madison.
In terms of the south side, it's not quite as beneficial, obviously, since the new location isn't as accessible for prospective employees. But I think we should, realize that
residents near the lake site raised concerns about the height of the proposed building, among other things. The city was working with the company on alternate plans for design, but the mayor says the discussion was too lengthy for Famous Footwear's timeline. The Madison School District will look again at where to site its new middle school.
That following harsh criticism that the recommended location in Fitchburg is too far from South Madison neighborhoods. Andrea Novotny is in the newsroom with more. Andrea.
Well, Mitch, school district and city leaders say they will sit down and revisit the choices for the Middle School 2000. But the superintendent says if anyone has new ideas, they need to speak up now. Last month, the Superintendent Cheryl Wilhoit recommended to build the new progressive school at Promega Corporation in Fitchburg. Over the last 3 years, the district has looked at some 48 sites, and Wilhoit says Promega was the best choice. Following outcry from several residents on the south side, Wilhoit today announced there will be another review.
And I think the pain and the distress that has been heard this week deserves clear recognition, and it means time to process, time to sit down together, listen to one another, and time to be open to other options.
And there actually was not much of a choice except for to redo it, take another look at it. It's quite an honor that it was seen that way. And I see it as a plus that maybe now we can work something out.
And I think that if people come to the table with that kind of honesty and that kind of attitude, I think maybe we can come up with something that will work for the entire community.
In order for the middle school to open in the fall of '95 as originally planned, Will Hoyt says the site will have to be pinned down in the next few days. But that's not likely to happen, so the opening date will be pushed back. City planners and school officials, in the meantime, will be sitting down in the coming weeks to rehash the various sites. Mitch?
Andrea, is the Promega site in Fitchburg still considered an option?
Yes, it is. Superintendent Will Hoyt says that that offer is still on the table, and she also stresses that if there are any new options out there, that people really need to speak up now because they don't want the process to be dragged out any longer. They've been working on it for 3 years as it is, and they want to nail down a site and go ahead with the plans to secure the money and to build.
All right, Andrea Novotny reporting live in our newsroom.
Still to come in this newscast, Tommy Thompson sees things other than politics ahead.
And a Wisconsin astronaut takes a walk without a net. Stay with us.
And keep the sunglasses handy. You'll need them for this upcoming weekend. I'll tell you all about it in just a couple minutes.
Closed captioning for 15 News is brought to you by American, where you get the low price and so much more.
Even Mayor Elroy? Oh, I might run for Mayor of Elroy.
Mayor of Elroy? How about that?
That's a surprise.
The governor surprises a room full of reporters today, announcing this will be his last campaign.
Thompson says he wants to make his last 4 years count for something. He says he can better accomplish that if he puts an end to speculation about his political aspirations.
20 years.
Thank you very much.
But I would like to have it very limited. And Republicans are asking me to come in and campaign for them, and I have rejuvenate, change government, get it ready for the 21st century. And I don't want to be bothered by anything that's going to say, well, you got to think about the U.S. Senate, you got to think about, elections. I want to do the best job I possibly can. I want to go in unfettered, without any obstacles in my way.
In the past, Thompson has said this will be his last run at governor, but this is the first time he's ruled out everything else. When asked about what he would do next, Thompson said he considered himself talented in a lot of different areas. The Republican governor says he would support the death penalty in some circumstances.
And just yesterday, Democratic Assembly Speaker Walter Kanicki announced he, too, would support the death penalty under certain circumstances. Tonight, we'd like to hear what you think. Would you support the death penalty in Wisconsin? To vote yes, 281-1511. To vote no, 281-1522. We'll have the results for you tonight at 10. A Wisconsin astronaut is the first in a decade to walk in space without a safety line.
Mark Lee is a native of Viroqua near La Crosse, Wisconsin. He and astronaut Carl Meade floated out of the Space Shuttle Discovery this morning and spent more than 6 hours trying out a new $7 million jetpack.
The pack is designed as a rescue device should future astronauts come untethered while building a space station. Lee was the first to unhook his tether. He then fired jets on the pack to propel himself at just half a foot per second.
Just ahead, we knew it was inevitable, a cooling off period for Wisconsin.
And the cheesemakers hold on to history.
And fans get more for the money in Green Bay. I'll tell you about it later in sports.
Relief, finally.
It has arrived.
Yeah.
You know, I know we're not supposed to talk about ties on TV because a lot of people hate that. It signifies that we have nothing in our brains, but I like that tie.
Thanks, Mitch.
Nicely done.
I like yours, too.
Well, hey, we go hand in hand, but not down the hall. Go ahead, Charlie.
Okay. Anyway, on that note, let's take a look at the currents right now. We do have partly cloudy skies in Madison, 72 degrees, northwest winds at 14. 58 degrees for the dew point, our humidity at 60%, and the pressure holding steady at 29.89. Now Mitch has me all flustered. 72 degrees in Madison right now, as we just said. Temperatures generally range in the low 70s across the state, a little cooler in the northwestern part of Wisconsin. Actually, about an hour ago, there was some drizzle reported in the Rice Lake area. That's the only precipitation I've seen across the state of Wisconsin for today. Milwaukee coming in at 82 degrees. As we look at the radar picture, you can't see that drizzle in the Rice Lake area. It's too light to be picked up on radar, and really nothing showing up in Wisconsin at all. You may see a few flashes here along the Lake Michigan shoreline. Just a little convergence there, no precipitation. A few light showers showing up in southern Minnesota right now. I don't think we have much of a chance of seeing any rainfall around here for probably about the next 4 or 5 days. It looks like a nice dry period shaping up, a real nice weekend as well. Can see a few clouds off to our west, so they're kind of those low-level stratus-type clouds, not producing much in the way of precipitation. There's an upper-level disturbance making its way eastward across the northern part of Wisconsin right now. That'll keep us in and out of clouds tonight and maybe even into tomorrow morning, but certainly by midday tomorrow and into the afternoon, we should see bright sunshine returning. And we'll take a look at the surface map now. You can see that cold front that slid through early today. That was the one that produced all the heavy weather last night and early this morning across portions of southern Wisconsin. A lot of rain again in the northern part of Wisconsin. A lot of flooding taking place there, but it does look like, thank goodness, they're going to be drying out as well. Looks like an extended dry period for them. Out west, maybe you heading to Boulder still. Nice ridge of high pressure has built in there. Sunshine expected tomorrow at throughout the day. At kickoff time, obviously, the sun will be down at 8:45, but still clear skies and pleasant temperatures. About kickoff time, they'll be in the low 70s. High temperatures expected right around the 80-degree mark for the next couple days in Colorado. Tomorrow, a weak cold front will be situated across the northern part of Wisconsin, but a big dome of high pressure is going to keep things dry. Not much moisture in the atmosphere, so therefore very little precipitation expected all the way through the weekend. Here's our forecast for tonight. Partly to mostly cloudy, 58 degrees for the low with northwest winds at 10 to 15. For tomorrow, becoming mostly sunny and cooler, a high of only 68 with north winds. Tomorrow night, mostly clear and cooler still, 50 for the low with light northeasterly winds. And looking ahead, a nice dry period with sunshine expected on Sunday. Temperatures will slowly climb to near or a little bit above normal. And if you don't have anything to do tomorrow, head on out to Elver Park. The 75th anniversary of, or Oscar Mayer celebrates its 75th birthday. Free hot dogs, Pepsi, and our favorite, the Wiener Whistles. We'll be out there, Elver Park, 11 to 3 o'clock, and there's a softball game at 1 o'clock, which
yes,
you will be participating in, I know.
It'll be the entertainment, not necessarily the sport.
Free hot dogs, too. You can't
Free hot dogs, and the Wiener Whistles.
All right,
Indeed. Thank you, Charlie.
You bet.
Well, a little later in sports, just who's being considered for the Heisman Trophy?
Already. But first, a slice of life in Monroe. History is being preserved in Monroe.
In the form of a cheese-making center. 105-year-old Monroe Railroad Depot is now renovated into a library of cheese industry. Many tons of cheese were shipped out here over the years.
The Monroe area used to be home to more than 300 cheese factories. Today, only 20 are still in business. Residents of Monroe hope to keep their history alive.
This is as authentic as you can get because the items that are here were once used in the cheese factory. These are all original.
Really want to be called a museum because we're going to keep changing this. We're going to show maybe how the farmers brought the milk at that time and then how the cheese buyers made it. And we're going to show the whole story from the beginning to the end. And like I said, today...
This weekend, Monroe is celebrating the 80th anniversary of Cheese Days.
They'll have a cheese race, Swiss music, crafts fair, cheese making, the Cheesemaker Ball, of course, at 9 Saturday, and a parade at 1 on Saturday.
We don't know if Craig's eating cheese out in Colorado, but just ahead in sports, a preview from Craig in Colorado for tomorrow's Badger-Buffalo battle.
And also ahead, Barry Alvarez joins in the Heisman hype. Mark's in next with sports.
I'm Carol Walker. If you need to brush up on your workplace manners, don't miss 15 News at Sunrise Monday morning. Our own business etiquette expert will tell us how to mind our office P's and Q's. Join us at 6:30.
Mark is here because
Craig is not.
Craig is not here. He's west.
He's here in a sense.
That's
Yeah,
right.
sort of.
We're going to see him in a minute, aren't we?
All right.
Okay, good.
Can you wait?
Yes.
Okay. Well, here he comes. The Badgers have been waiting for this trip to Colorado since camp opened in mid-August. Now it's time to play in what's being featured as the only matchup of top 10 teams this weekend. Craig Kashan is in the Rocky Mountain State with a preview of tomorrow night's primetime clash.
This is Folsom Field, where it's all going to happen tomorrow night between the Badgers and Buffs. You know, all week long, both sides have been asked if either might have an advantage over one another. And up until last weekend, the Buffs may have thought they had an advantage over the Badger defense until they saw the big red wall Bucky built against Eastern Michigan.
I saw their defense on tape, and they're pretty good. You know, I'm not gonna lie, but you know, you go down the line and they don't really drop off much at any position, and they're really aggressive too. They really try and knock you out.
The Buffs have reason to fear the Badger defense. They pitched a rare shutout in college football last weekend. That left the door open for Bucky to get offensive. 7 rushing touchdowns and 56 points.
I just am thoroughly impressed with their offense. Their offense is as far along at this point in the season as you could ever expect anybody's offense to be.
If that's the case, you have to wonder if McCartney really pays attention to his own offense. They tallied 649 yards in game 1. The sergeant of the squad is senior Cordell Stewart. He can run and he can throw.
If he doesn't find his number 2 or number 1 receiver, then he's going to run the ball. So that threatens me. So I got to just make sure that I square up on him and I don't lose my feet in the open field and try and make a great open field tackle on him because he's got great quickness and great speed.
Colorado's offense alone doesn't add up to the 7th-ranked team in the country. The Buffs' defense is prepared to kill any drive.
I thought UCLA had a great defense, and you know, I thought they had all the speed in the world. But now you look at this one, and this one, you know, I think is even better than that one.
That's where the game could be won tomorrow night. The Badger O against the Buffalo D. You know, if history repeats itself, we're in for a pretty good matchup. The last 2 meetings have been decided by 3 points, and the very first, played back in 1965, was a scoreless tie. I doubt very much we'll see that on Saturday night. From Boulder, Colorado, Craig Kashan, 15 Sports at 6.
All right, looks like a nice day out there. We'll hear more from Craig out in Colorado at 10. The Badgers fly out of Madison in about half an hour with at least one player looking forward to the national spotlight. Brett Moss has already been widely mentioned as a Heisman candidate. Now Barry Alvarez is joining in the hype. Normally one to downplay individual awards, Alvarez has sent letters to voters for the Doak Walker Award given to the nation's top back. In the letter, Alvarez describes Moss as a good person as well as a Heisman candidate. Well, Money Magazine says the Packers offer the second best entertainment value in pro sports. Only the Cowboys give sports fans more for their money. 83 pro teams were part of the survey. The Brewers ranked 29th, and the Bucks came in as the 61st best value, for whatever that's worth. Meanwhile, the Packers are heading out for their road opener in Philadelphia, going for their first winning road season since 1972. Last year, they were one play away from a 500 road mark. A win Sunday would be a good start.
We'll see. You know, this is this year's team, and this is our first shot at it. So there are some new faces, and we'll just see how we handle it because we're going into a tough place, and we know that, and we're going against a good football team. So it should be a gauge of some kind.
They look pretty good Monday night. They're running the ball and throwing the ball well, and you know, they have good running backs, and they have a great quarterback and decent line, good wide receivers. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us.
John Daly's taken time off the PGA Tour before, but this time it's a voluntary vacation. Daly says he'll take the rest of '94 off to deal with, quote, mental and physical problems. He hopes to return next season. So we hope to see John Daly back in the tour, I guess, next season. And Ernie Irvin gets to go home to a hospital to rehab closer to home. So good news for him, too.
Very
Good
nice.
news.
He's right.
Thanks, Mark.
Right. Viking colors here? No, it's all right.
Not quite.
Okay,
We'll be
thanks,
back.
Mark. Be right back.
If you see news happening, call the 15 News hotline at 274-1520 or call star 15 airtime free on your Ameritech cellular phone.
A quick reminder, we do have a Call 15 poll for you tonight. Our question, would you support the death penalty in Wisconsin?
If you think we should have it, vote yes at 608-281-1511 and no at 281-1522. We'll have the results at 10 o'clock.
We're heading out this evening?
A quiet evening, in and out of clouds, but generally a dry evening with cool conditions expected.
All right.
And the countdown is on. The Colorado team has been gearing up for this year for a long time. We don't have much time. The Badgers will win, right, Mark? Say yes.
I think so.
Okay, we'll see you at 10. Good night.